Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. They call me on the phone. They ask me what my show's about, and I say, well, it's about an hour. It's about guitars, guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So here's the deal. If you want to call me up on the phone, ask me a question about, how to play the guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, the care and feeding of your guitar. If you want to talk about some related topic like the guitarron, the cithara, the lute, the oud, the vihuela, the banjos, balalaikas, bazookies, bajos, sextos, tiples, cavaquinhos, ukuleles. You want to talk about, treses, cuatros, and you want to talk about cavaquinhos or bandurias or bandolins. That's fine. If you want to talk about pipe organs, piccolonas, ocarinas, accordions, anything music related, clavinets, clarinets, clavinovas, clavichords, but saxophones, sack butts, trombones, trombomarinas, quartholz, crumhorns, cornetos, politics, world events, your own personality problems. That's fine. We're here for you on the show, but keep it clean. It's a family program. So anyway, yeah, we had a lot of fun. We couldn't get my mic to work, my favorite mic and my Elvis mic. Call it the Black Elvis. And I don't think it was my microphone's fault. I think it was a fault of wiring and things. As you might know, we're a non-profit organization here at PATV, and sometimes things work better than other times, if you know what I'm saying. So, anyway.
So how was your adventure with the Tribbles last week?
It was fine. We played at Trek Fest, and right in the middle of the day, it was nice and warm, so we didn't have to get cold at all. We didn't get cold a little bit even. Found it it was Sweat Fest, and but everybody performed very well, I think, and it was kind of interesting for the band, like Banjo Dave got up there and he sang Dooley, which was kind of funny because we're going to talk about Andy Griffith here in a minute, but Dooley was a song done by the Dillards. And they did that on the Andy Griffith Show. The Dillards were called the Darlings on the show. They were a bluegrass band, and that had a lot to do with the rising popularity of bluegrass in the 60s and 70s. Was that this recurring band, the Dillards, which they called the Darlings, on the Andy Griffith Show would come on. I guess they were moonshiners that lived up in the hills or something like that. But they would do it, and then Andy Griffith would play guitar. He was a guitar player and a singer himself, Andy Griffith. But anyway, so one song they would do was Dooley, and Banjo Dave, who's been on the show several times, he's lives up in Fayette, and he plays banjo. He's in the string band that comes on the show now and then. He sang lead on it, so he began his music career at the age of 55, and I guess now he's 58. So he's come a long way. Dave has. We're all very proud of him, and he's saying, but he's more of a hillbilly. You know, he's probably the most hillbillyish of anybody in the string band. So and he's from Fayette up there, you know, in the hills of northeast Iowa. So anyway. But anyway, so yeah, we did the show, and everybody seemed to have a good time. I just heard, though, a little while ago that the lady who got us a gig, she had 10 requests for CDs of our band, and which is kind of nice. But as we've already talked about copyright clearance on the show before, and so we can't really, you know, I mean. We did Johnny Cash songs. We did, you know, the Dillards. We did, you know, other, you know, we did a lot of stuff. Nothing was original, and very little of it was public domain. So
it cost more to get cleared than you could make selling CDs.
Definitely, yes. So, but anyway, but maybe we'll put it up on YouTube. I heard that I saw PATV was there taping it, and there's also a costume. It's Trek Fest, so they had a costume thing. I'll tell you, those Star Trek costumes, they look kind of warm, actually. Like long sleeve, kind of polyester knit, you know.
Some appear to be pretty thick, too.
Yeah, and those Klingon masks look really hot in there. Some guy walking around with a Klingon mask. But anyway, we had a good time. So
A sacrifice for your art.
that's right. I wore long pants, so you know, because I was on stage. Sorry, I bored myself. But anyway. Yeah, I made the sacrifice of wearing long pants, which I'm doing now. I'm wearing long pants for the show, and then when I go home,
But it's air conditioned.
It's air conditioned, but I'm on beyond. There's this French fry lights on me, so you know. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, so what I wonder is like maybe our snake, you know, that has sort of the cables that goes into the control room, maybe it's messed up, you know, which sounds really expensive. So we had my microphone that I always use here, and it wasn't working. So should I be happy that maybe it's not my microphone? My microphone is fine, but the snake is messed up. So who should I be rooting for? Myself, my own personal things, because it's my microphone, or is it? Should I be rooting for PATV to have not a bad snake? So I think it's cables, isn't it?
Yeah, since we've changed the microphone and still have the problem, I'd say the microphone probably wasn't the problem.
Yes, I mean I win, right? Yeah. All right. Well. Anyway, so I brought my DBZ, my Zelensky guitar here, which is kind of cool because it's really thin. See, it's really thin. See how thin that is? And it's very hard though, very dense and solid. It's an axe. It's like a big. It's my axe, man. It's like a battle axe. So I got this, and but I'm using an acoustic guitar amp and this Digitech RP90, which is a fairly inexpensive multi-effects processor, which is kind of fun because I can. See, here's number 23, which I always like to use. It's a very shimmering, heavily reverb sound, which some people hate. But I also can do a like. Stuff like that, or. So what I could do is I can go over here to number 23, which is clean, but it's shimmering and reverb, and I can loop something like a. Oops. I made a mistake. Hang on. You ever do that at home? All right. I had a nice little plan going. 1, 2, here I go. So that made a nice little clean loop there. And now I can. Something like that. I can't whistle very well, I guess. I guess we all know that now, right? Anyway. If I practiced, it takes years of practicing. Anyway, I had to have that embouchure. It'd be nice to have, because it's nice to be able to make music, you know? Like if they locked me up without a guitar.
Right.
How could I keep from singing? I could whistle badly, but I could always sing badly, too. I could get beat up for that, too, I suppose. Anyway,
Well, your little tribute to Andy Griffith there.
yeah, well, I did my tribute to Andy Griffith. He was, so I don't know that much about his early, I mean, I'm assuming he was from the South and everything, and
Yeah, one of the Carolinas, I can look him up here.
yeah.
Anyway,
I think it was North Carolina, but I'm not sure.
could be.
But he,
It was North Carolina and at Chapel, he went to Chapel Hill and people still point. Just real quick.
mhm.
Yeah, it was North Carolina. He went to University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and people still point out the dormitory that he lived in.
I see.
That's still there.
So he had a college education, of course.
He was, yeah, he was a pretty bright guy.
Yeah.
I think part of the hillbilly accent was kind of shtick for him, although I think underneath it he had a legitimate Southern accent or North Carolinian accent, but I think he exaggerated it for, entertainment.
People, Southerners exaggerate the drawl, and also it rubs off.
I said y'all the 6 years I lived in Chapel Hill.
I see.
Well, maybe 6 months into it, I started picking it up.
It started to happen to you. I was in Arkansas for like a week, and it rubbed off. I was in Duluth for a week, and then I couldn't have it. It took me like years. I'm still shaky on singing boat, not boat, but boat. I'm afraid to go to Canada because I'll have trouble saying out and about. But
Why did the moose cross the road
why?
to get to the hoose?
Who's? But yeah.
And actually, interesting. In North Carolina, I knew a linguist who was very savvy about regional accents, and he said that, and I'm assuming this is probably true in a lot of parts of the country. He said in North Carolina there were regional differences in language, like counties apart, and I believe it's more. Virginia, something you'd more likely to hear in Virginia, but the old aristocracy actually pronounce some of those words as they do in Canada, like it's almost a boat and stuff like that.
What's his name? The TV preacher, 700 Club charlatan guy. What's his name?
Baker.
No, the guy who runs the 700 Club.
Pat Robertson.
Pat Robertson, yeah, he says he sounds like a Canadian a lot of times.
And he's from Virginia.
Yeah, he's got that accent. I just called him the charlatan guy from anyway.
And I answered with the first charlatan I could think of.
Yeah, the first one you get. There's so many though. Big business in there, flogging the. Guess.
A lot of Bible pounders on TV.
A lot of Bible. Jesus needs lots of money, I guess, and his messengers have to have a mansion. Pat Robertson has 2 mansions, like they're not far apart on hills or something like that. There.
Yeah. Ray Stevens put out a song about that. It was written by Chet Atkins' secretary, I think. Would Jesus wear a Rolex on his television show?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You hear the joke about the priest, the rabbi, and the minister?
But if it's clean, you could tell it in the microphone, but only if it's clean.
Gee.
This is a family show, but if it's family
if
friendly,
it's-
go on with the mic.
He wants to tell a joke about a. I was going to tell. I'm thinking about telling a joke. I'm not sure if it's fit for this show, but anyway, what was the what's the joke?
This is a joke about a minister, a rabbi, and a priest, something like that, right? And they're all talking about how much money should they give to charity, and well, the minister they all think of the idea. Hey, the minister goes, hey, let's draw a circle on the ground, throw the money way up in the air, and whatever lands inside the circle we'll give to charity. The minister says, no, we'll draw a circle on the ground, we'll throw the money way up in the air, and whatever lands outside the circle we'll give it to charity. And the priest says, no, whatever. We'll draw a circle in the middle of on the ground, and we'll throw the money way, way up in the air, and whatever God wants, He'll keep.
That's right. There you go. That's how it's done, I think. But
Which reminds me of my favorite rabbi, priest, and preacher joke. Rabbi, priest, and preacher are discussing when life begins. And
That joke was told on.
the preacher says, oh, go ahead.
That joke was told on the movie Short Circuit.
oh, I see. Okay.
The preacher says, life begins at birth. And the priest says, no, life begins at conception. And the rabbi says, when the kids move out and the dog dies.
That's right. Yeah. That's probably yeah. That's. I'll tell you, my son just he's got his license and a car. I mean, he's got the use of a car now. So I've been driving him to early bird PE, and preschool and stuff, and all these. I mean, like and driver's ed at 7 o'clock in the morning lately. You know, the most recent was driver's ed at 7 o'clock in the morning. He's 17 years old. He's got a driver's license and access to a car. The long nightmare is over. I can sleep.
No, the long nightmare begins now.
Yeah, right. Well,
You got a 17-year-old out there loose in a car.
yeah, well, he's kind of a nerd though, so I might be safe. I wonder if we get the discount points in the insurance for being a nerd. But yeah. But anyway, but my joke, I'm going to tell. I probably shouldn't tell on this, but my joke, so I don't forget it. It's not about the clergyman at all, but it's like, what did the Deadhead, as in a fan of the Grateful Dead, say when he ran out of pot? See, this music sucks. Now I'll probably get beat up for that more than I would for a clergyman joke, but anyway.
I don't think deadheads are into beating people up.
Oh, I see.
They're pretty mellow, I think.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Whether until they run out of. No, I'm just. Anyway.
No, yeah, I think you had it there.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I was just musing, and I should be paying attention to the guitar playing and not. I'm not against the Grateful Dead or the Deadheads. I thought it was kind of funny. This was on. I was looking up jokes actually for last week's special, and musician jokes and so forth. And this is basically one that was gravitated more toward jazz musicians, and jazz. You know, the jazz. The one that was a classical. Also, one was gravitating toward jazz musicians. One was on a classical guitar website, and the one was on the classical guitar website was. About this guy who won 15 million pounds in the national lottery. It must have been England, you know, and was asked by a journalist, a concert classical guitarist, what will he do? He said, I'm going to play concerts till the money runs out. So, anyway. I'm sorry. The heat's baked my brain. We're having a heat wave. It's heat wave. Whatever with me, something inside starts to burning. I'm filled with desire for air conditioning. Could be the devil of me, or this way I'm supposed to be inside the heat wave. I was just goofing off. No, I wanted to learn that. I don't know. It's Till There Was You. It's from The Music Man. And I've been thinking about The Music Man a lot lately because it's a very interesting... See, when I was a kid, we watched the movie with Robert Preston and Shirley Jones. And I was starting to think about it because one of them was like, Mother, a man with a suitcase followed me home. Ah, says the mother, because she's an old maid. She's like 26. And she's not married. So it's supposed to take place in in Mason City, Iowa in the early 20th century. And the guy comes into town. He's a flim-flam man. He's selling boys' bands. And he doesn't know how to play anything. He's a music instructor, see. So I didn't think that much of it. I watched it. It was okay. It was all right. I had 76 trombones led the big parade. I mean, I didn't really care for it that much. And the marching bands all had to play 76 trombones and everything. But I've been thinking about it because the guy goes into town, and he's saying we got trouble right here in River City because there's a pool hall, and they got a pool table that just was delivered. So he's using this to whip up, a frenzy about how they got trouble and the kids are going to be all immoral. So the only thing that's going to save them is a boys' band. And I thought about that a lot. Like, this is a favorite trick of advertisers and politicians. They say, we have this terrible problem here. Like, ginning up, remember the Ground Zero Mosque? It's this terrible thing. They're going to build it. The thing was, it wasn't actually at Ground Zero. It was several blocks away, and it wasn't actually a mosque. It was like an Islamic center. Yeah? And it's like this very terrible thing. Everybody's getting all excited about it and everything like that. And then And after that, they built it actually. Now it's there, and it's there. Nobody cares. It's fine. It's just like, I mean, if you're going to have Pat Robertson with his 2 mansions, they should be able to have an Islamic center several blocks from Ground Zero. I mean, so, and now nobody cares. It's the same thing as Harold Hill and the Music Man. You know, we got trouble right here in River City. So you gin up all this excitement. Say, here's a big problem, and we have this, but I have the solution. You see, so anyway, so I've been thinking about that. You know, the whole point about the thing, and then also the fact he's a music instructor and he had the Think system, and so.
Well, he had the Think system because he wasn't a music instructor and couldn't hire one.
Yeah, right. Well, he wasn't a music instructor, so he had to do something.
Yeah.
So,
Sold all the instruments and had to find something for the kids to do with them.
yeah, well, he stuck around. Usually he would leave town,
Yeah.
but I guess he liked marrying the librarian or something. And that was he almost got tarred and feathered. Which is the other interesting thing is at the end of the thing. I hope I'm not giving away for anybody, but this musical's been around for 50 years, so I mean, you know, or more. So, that, you know, at the end, you know, they're just about to tar and feather him, and then he conducts this band with ill-fitting uniforms who don't really know how to play at all, but they've been thinking about it. So, ba da 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 da, like. Anyway, the Beethoven little. Da, 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 da. Anyway, and of course they're terrible. But then, just when he thinks
But
he's about to get,
recognize the melody.
yeah, he could recognize the melody, but it's just, but then, you know, then somebody like, just when he thinks he's about to get killed, you know, somebody says, "That's my boy."
Yeah,
And
then they magically turn into a.
Yeah, because well, that's what they look like to the parents. You see, which I don't know if that's true or not. We've, I've had a lot of kids come on the show, of course, but they're pretty good though, aren't they? Most kids come on the show.
Most kids come on here pretty good.
They're pretty good, yeah.
Most of your adult students are pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. We played Trek Fest. Anyway, I'm just fooling around. I should be playing, but.
Where do you play this weekend?
Well, this weekend I'm playing the Tuscan Moon on Friday, and I'll probably be indoors, not out in the patio again, because it's
Not in 100-degree heat.
yeah, it's supposed to be 101 tomorrow for 4th of July, so I'm not going to light any sparklers; they're too hot. But we have one air-conditioned room at my house, and I tried to get an air conditioner, but Laura's not going for it. So it's a music room though, so
So that's where you spend your time.
yeah. Well, I have my little amplifier that has a good headphone jack, so I practice in headphones because the air conditioner is really loud. So I have my own little world in there. It's kind of dark, you know. I turn off the lights because you know, so the air conditioner just so it doesn't add any more heat to the room, and so it's just like just a couple of lights, and I have my headphones on, and I have a light on my music stand, and I just practice with headphones on, so my ears start to sweat. That's why I've been working on this song. I actually wrote it out. I transposed it from E flat into C, which is a really easy key to play in. And Till There Was You from the Music Man. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to be playing at Tuscan Moon on Friday night. And then Saturday, I'm playing a wedding, and then I'm playing a party in Mount Pleasant. I got 2 gigs, one after the other. And then next week, it'll be a similar sort of thing. I'll be playing Friday, but not Saturday, I believe.
So if our viewers want to see you, Friday night at the Tuscan Moon.
Friday at Tuscan Moon. Try to get your
Beautiful downtown Kelowna.
yeah, in downtown, beautiful downtown Kelowna. Get your reservations early though. Don't think you can just walk up in and get a table, because you won't. And you could walk in like at 9:30 and get a table, but then they, you know, but those cooks, you know, they've been on the job, and you know, on and off since lunch, and the kitchen closes at 10. You see, so you don't want to. Somebody got
I
there.
want to stir up the cooks.
Yeah, well, they've got access to your food,
Yeah.
and not only that, but they have sharp things and hot things at their disposal. So you want to be on good terms with the cooks.
There's a line in the movie Waiting, you know, don't mess with somebody that handles your food.
That's right. That's right. I get teased by the waitresses sometimes, you know. So they probably figure I'm really safe, you know. I mean, like an older fellow like me, you know.
Safely married.
Yeah, and not going to give them any trouble, but I just grin and bear it because they have access to my food. don't think I do anything. I make jokes about crunchy crickets and things, but this show is turning. This show isn't turning out very well. You know, I should be just playing guitar, but I don't know what to play. I kind of like this sound, though. Is this too creamy, or it's sort of? Some people hate reverb. I'm sure I've said this on the show before, but Pierre Bensoussan, the French, nominally French, because he's what you call a pied noir. He was born in Algeria, and Algeria used to be a French colony, but they kicked out a lot of people. You know, after the revolution, they became a country of their own. In North Africa, there. So I think his deal is he's kind of a mixture of French, Irish, and whatever local population of Algeria. There are different tribes of Bedouins and Arabs and so forth. So he's kind of a mixture of things, but he didn't look too Algerian, I guess. So he left, and as a kid, because this is like 1963 or something. I don't know my history that well, but I know it that well anyway. I know what a pied noir is. It's a Blackfoot, a pied noir, in French. But anyway, so he moved to Ireland. He lives in France. And he's toured quite a bit. But anyway, and I used to hang around with him a little bit when he was in the U.S. and try to speak French with him and everything. But he was talking at one of his concerts. He's got kind of a charming way of speaking at his concerts. Unlike me, not very interesting, but he has a lot of personality. He said that he has a nickname among sound people, the sound engineers. They call him Meur Reverb, because he likes the reverb. Meur Reverb. So it's a finger-style guitar player thing. You want to sound like you're in a cave or a cathedral. So it's like, instead of like really dry, I put a lot of reverb on my electric nylon string guitar. That was what I used to call wet nylon sound. Anyway. call. Hello, you're at Tom's Guitar Show.
Hello, Tom.
Hey.
This is Louis.
Hey, Louie, how are you doing?
Okay, man. Happy 4th of July.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Hey, can you play some patriotic songs?
And then there's America the Beautiful. Made a mistake. Not supposed to tell them. See, thank you, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye. Thanks for calling me. Yeah, God save the State. Yeah, I don't do that one. My God. And of course, I'm trying to think of our national anthem. So when we played Trek Fest, one thing we went over really well. I mean, actually, as a band, the Tom and the Tribbles, which that band ended when that band was over. By the time we were there having our barbecued pork sandwiches and baked beans in the picnic shelter, that we got free meal tickets as part of our perks. I've also got another shirt I can use for pajamas. But anyway, T-shirt, you know. But actually, the Arts Fest one from 2 years ago, the orange ones, my Laura, she threw it away. So she didn't like. Yeah, well, I had the blue one. I have this year's blue Arts Fest one, but it's kind of it might get thrown away eventually. But anyway, she doesn't like colors like that. Anyway, wait. But I mean, how would you like to wake up next to the? Never mind. So we went over really well because the older people, like they had a band the year before that was kind of like hard rock and everything, and the older people were there having their lunch at that time, and they didn't like it that much. So we did Detour, which is a country song from 1948. Detour. You remember that? You remember it? So.
My generation.
Yeah. So, well, see the people
Talking about my generation.
talking about my generation. But anyway, so we did some oldies. I mean, we did Proud Mary with the ukulele ensemble, and I sang lead on that one. And I went rolling on the river. Anyway, but we went over really well. But anyway, but see, in the middle of our show, at about noon or a little after noon, a guy dressed up like a pirate got up to give some awards to a scholarship, $500 awards to two local teenagers who were. And one guy said he was going to go to Kirkwood this next year, and move to Cedar Rapids, so he's leaving town. But anyway, they got up, and he got up and made his speech. So the thing was, the band was off the stage, and I was going to get up and do a patriotic medley because the older people like the patriotic songs. So I was going to do, Tramp, 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 Battle Hymn of the Republic, America the Beautiful, and the National Anthem, all as a medley for about 8 minutes. But the whole time I was playing that, there was like a sort of roof over the stage, and there were birds' nests up there, and some bird came out, and it was just like chirp, 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 chirp at me. It was like cussing me the whole time. Didn't particularly care for my selections or something, or didn't like me, or took an exception to it. I mean, because they had a nest going up there. I mean, there are probably little ones up there trying to sleep or something. Babies trying. I don't know. Maybe birds don't like the patriotic stuff. I mean, they probably preferred it better before it became the United States. It probably was better. Well, of course, if they were English sparrows, then they probably came over with the Pilgrims. So
They came over later.
Oh, later, okay. They had a stake in it anyway, didn't they? How'd they get here anyway? People bring them over, or
They brought them over on purpose.
just for?
Somebody had the idea that all the birds that were mentioned in English poetry, I think they imported, and the English sparrow was one of starlings. Were
Yeah,
imported from England on purpose.
yeah.
Now, wasn't that a good idea?
Yeah, we got lots of starlings now. I think a bunch of them live in our backyard, and they are always bickering or something. Fascinates the cat, though. If she gets one, I wouldn't mind, actually. Natural food.
Right.
It was poultry in motion. Sorry. But yeah, so somebody imported all the birds that were from English poetry.
Yeah.
I was doing God Save the Queen earlier, which is My Country 'Tis of Thee, but
Right.
we speak a form of English here, although people from England might object. But I would say that actually I probably speak a closer. I mean, somebody with like BBC English would probably find it easier to understand me, or we would communicate better than some Cockney or something, or somebody from Scotland.
I don't know how many dialects they have in England. And
Yeah.
That place probably is no bigger than Iowa.
Right. I don't know, forget how big England is, but not that big. Certainly smaller than California. But anyway,
But till the Beatles came, most of us had never heard a Liverpool accent and didn't know there was such a thing.
yeah,
But they didn't sound at all like Michael Caine's got the Cockney accent.
right. Well, we've been hearing these English accents for a long time, and
Right.
people used to affect them, back in the earlier 20th century, just to sound like a gentleman if you sound more English or something. And we've had a lot of English actors. We have people like
We still do.
we do. Oh yeah, of course.
I see the new Spider-Man is English.
Really? Huh?
Yeah. And House is English.
Yeah. Well, he's got an American accent. He's contrived.
Yeah.
to a lot
Well,
of
that's the new Spider-Man works with an English or works with an American accent in the movie.
Well, they're doing better than they used to. Remember, Cary Grant he had this incomprehensible mid-Atlantic sort of. He was aiming at mid-Atlantic because that was the closest he could get. But I would say that though that the English that I attempt to speak is probably closer to the proper British English than a lot of other English is.
Closer to the BBC accent than some of the English accents.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But and I had a student who was actually from Arkansas. And he had he was an intellectual. He was a Rhodes Scholar. Rhodes Scholar, is it Rogue Scholar? Anyway, he spent time. Yeah, Rhodes. Okay, thank you. He spent some time in England studying. He's very, very learned, intelligent fellow. But he had this very gentlemanly Arkansas accent, and it sounded really good on him. But I guess I wonder what they thought of him in England, because he'd spent, it's been a year there or something, or a school year there anyway. But anyway, but
Well, I spent a winter up in Boston, and somebody said to me, "You're from down south, aren't you?" I said, "No. What makes you say that?" She said, "The way you roll your R's."
yeah, there's a. Never mind. There was a joke, a double entendre joke from that "Are You Being Served" show. See, one thing is, if you watch public television, you get a lot of British accents around here, but it was just, I don't know. I can't tell. It was a Japanese guy, but anyway.
When I was in Hungary back in the 80s, I met two women from Australia who were studying piano at the conservatory there, and we were talking, and one of them said something about me standing out as an American, and I said, "What makes me stand out as American?" And she said, "Your smile."
You smile.
Whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Although I think my brother's Air Force flight jacket that he had was probably more gave me away because I was wearing that as a winter coat at that time. But yeah, my smile. Maybe she means the extroversion or supposed
Yeah.
extroversion of America. Although I'm not that extroverted, but
Yeah.
maybe I smile more than the average Eastern European. But
I suppose. Probably.
at least back in that day when. The era of Stalinist cinder block housing, I guess. But
Yeah.
no, the Hungarians were very friendly. The people are people all over the
People are
world.
people all over, but there are certain things. There's also a thing about just though the style, the kind of personal style of people. I mean, I was doing a thing at the International House, the International Center. There's a very appealing young woman from Moldova. So my advice is go to Hungary, to Romania, and ask, and anyway. It's over there by Romania, anyway. But she's a Moldovan and quite attractive woman, but she seems so morose and everything like that. And I talked to her, and it seemed like she was so depressed, and the whole thing was terrible and everything. But then she kind of was sort of sorry to see me go, you know, because I was done with my little thing and I was leaving. I'd play guitar for something, and then I read an article later on about somebody who was dating an Eastern European, and they would like she seemed so like she didn't have a very good time or anything like that. And so he went on a date, like a double date with her and some other people, and then he didn't call her. And then the friend, said that he was like, why didn't you call her? You know, she was wondering why you didn't call. I said, well, I thought she had a terrible time. He said, no, she liked you a lot. That's just the way they communicate. You know, they want you to get depressed together. See, that's. And there's some Russian guy was saying that if my natural state is melancholy, and if anything gets me away from that state, then I become nervous. See, so, but.
Well, there's been a lot of suffering in Eastern Europe and in Russia, and I kind of like that strain. You see it in religion. It's kind of the Veil of Tears approach, which I think is a refreshing balance to our overly optimistic, overly extroverted American way of looking at things. It's
They're different.
Reminder of what life can be, really. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be like Romania could be a nice place. I think they have pretty good soil. They have nice, beautiful mountains and things like that. It's just history has been against them. So,
by the way, earlier Bob mentioned being up in Boston, and we're talking about accents.
He said Boston. Go ahead. Pocket car. Anyway, go ahead. You said Boston. So
in Harvard, yeah.
Boston is what. Anyway, go ahead.
Our local, one of our local weathermen, weather people, Mark Schnackenberg. I mean, when you look at him on television and with a name like that, you think he's a solid Iowa boy from German ancestry. If you listen to his accent, though, every now and then a little bit of Boston creeps up, and that's actually where he's from. So it's interesting because he's been here in Iowa for years, decades, as far as I can remember. But like I say, his appearance, if you turn the sound down, he looks like a Iowa boy, true and true. But listen to his accent.
Is he overweight or something? Or?
No,
I'm sorry.
just very polite, very pleasant, and like I say, this Germanic last name and everything. Mm-hmm. But if you listen to him for a while, every now and then he still has some Bostonian accent creeping in. So
I see. Well, that's interesting. I would say that language is interesting, like between the English and the Americans. My brother, my younger brother, who lives in Germany, he was going to college in Tübingen in Germany, and he was in a dorm that was populated by English-speaking people. So he had like a Canadian roommate or whatever, and then there was a young woman from England downstairs, and she wanted them to wake her up in the morning, but their slang term for waking up is to knock up. So she said, well, will you knock me up in the morning? And my brother and his Canadian, roommate, who they thought that was really funny, and she had no idea why they were laughing. So anyway.
Well, that's Americans who go to England and talk about a fanny pack, which English think is real funny. It's English terminology for a woman's private parts.
Oh, I see. Well, there was another one like that I was thinking of, but we've probably gone far enough for now.
Yeah, since this is a family show, we've
gone far enough for 1 week. Well, I'll talk about something completely different. Like I was showing this to somebody earlier today, but the interesting thing about the diminished chord, diminished 7 is when you lower the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th, which has already been lowered. But what they call a half diminished, which is like a 1/2 0 and the chord symbol, is when it's just a chord where the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th is only lowered once. Because you see, to make a dominant 7 chord, you lower the 7. So if you make a diminished 7 chord, that means you've twice flatted the 7th tone. But on a half diminished, you only once flat the 7th tone. So what that means to me is, here's a D7 chord, right? And if I raise this up to make it a D sharp 7, this is a D sharp. All I do is I lower everything except that D sharp, and I get a D sharp diminished 7. See? It's cool, isn't it? Or you could do an A major, oh, never mind. Okay, so that's one. Now, if I did like an A7 now, or an A, right, and I lower the 7th tone to make it an A major 7, and I raise it up one here, make it a B flat major 7, and then I lower everything except that B flat, I get a half diminished chord. I think it's really cool. See, I showed somebody this once that they got it instantly, and all of a sudden chords made sense to them. It was like this moment of revelation. I'm just hoping that like one of the 3 people who are watching this show right now would let's say, oh, a diminished chord, you'd lower everything except the root. D7, D sharp 7, right? I lower everything except the root. And I get a diminished 7. There's my diminished chord. Right? Or here, I have an A. I'm going to make it an A, or B flat, or an A sharp, and I'm going to lower everything except A major 7, B flat major 7, B flat half diminished. I like chord theory. I don't think I'm quite as intelligent as some of those jazz cats, you know. I know as people come back from a Berkeley School of Music and they had like chord melody going, like dripping out of their ears, you know. They would sit up the long nights, the long winter nights, fixing me with their glittering eye and talking about all this stuff. And I didn't really understand it that well, you know, if at all. But you know, you chip away at it and start thinking, oh, I get it. Out of this guitar with this. We spend so much time talking about idiosyncrasies and cultural differences. Of course, that's what I'm interested in. I spend a lot of time playing the guitar, but I'm sort of insular now, you know, a lot of time in my one little air-conditioned room, hiding away, practicing in my headphones. It's all about private little world in there, inside your headphones, you know. Anyway, I'll be back next week.